Okay, good afternoon. This is Lindsay. It is it's September 11th, 2024, and I want to talk more about my gang stalking targeted individual stuff here. What's going on in San Antonio, or what's going on lately with my harassment stuff. So I talked about before how I basically sort of blew the whistle or exposed some sloppy organized crime that was going on in the neighborhood, like right next door to me, where a bunch of fucking drug dealing had been going on for the past, however years, like 3, however long I've been here. And so now that's all kind of gone away, I've noticed, okay? So I believe that's because of me. And because I kept having to call the fucking police about their noise and shit that they were doing, and I guess it got to the point where, they finally backed off or stopped doing that because they knew that they can't fuck with me because I'm not stupid, and they were trying to, I guess the police or whoever are obviously trying to use me as some kind of an unwitting confidential informant, and that's what happens to just a minute, to targeted people is that you'll find that they try to set you up unwittingly as an informant or snitch, okay, whenever, obviously because so as to hide whenever you blow the cover on their fucking organized, or their sloppy crime shit that they're doing, their organized crime like drug dealing and human prostitution shit, because they kept doing that shit right in front of my face all the time to see how I would react. And that's a way that they are able to try to turn you, the target, into like a snitch for the government. That's how this works, is they want to entrap you, or they want to get you, they do these things in front of you to see how you react, if you're going to react, and then that way they can continue to use you as some kind of an unwilling government informant or something. And this has been going on for so many years with me, as far as the fucking police and government harassing me and stalking me, security personnel, fucking dumb idiot FBI agents and CIA motherfuckers who stalk me at the gym. And what's so funny, or private investigator shit, what's so funny is that they think they're real incognito, like really inconspicuous, but I can always sense their presence and I can feel who they are. I know because of the way their patterns and how they behave and the way they look at me, and it's like, I know that you're a fucking, what do you want? Why don't you just ask me what you want, or what are you investigating? But see, if I confront these people and ask them that, obviously it just makes they discredit me and make me look crazy and delusional simply for standing up for myself. And that's how this works. It's like they use a bunch of reverse psychology and manipulation and gaslighting to discredit the person who's being harassed. And of course it's called induced paranoia, because when you go through this for so long, year after year of this kind of shit, sponsored by your fucking local fusion centers and police and government and whatnot, then of course you're gonna, it makes you go crazy with paranoia. It makes you, you don't trust anybody, you don't have any friends, you don't have any family, because they're all fucking involved. They've been bribed to be involved with it. And so literally you are left completely defenseless on your own, which is what has happened to me, except for the fact that I've been able to get some help through social services, or at least I've tried to, but even then they don't believe you. So basically it becomes a big nightmare, and you because nobody believes you. It's like you've been discredited. And the dangerous thing about when you're a targeted individual is that, if you try to, like I talked about before, if you're trying to get a job, they just look at your file from your past or whatever, and they see that whatever these people have said about you, it's passed around on some kind of a file that these community watch list people get a hold of, which then gets transferred over to your employment if you have a job, or wherever you go like, whatever, like the gym or the store, they all know about you, right? These people know all about you whenever you walk in the fucking door, because they just already seem to be on alert that you're there. Because that's what happens to me when I go to HEB. If I go to anywhere in public, this is what they do to me. It's very unnerving, and it causes immense anxiety and stress, which obviously is done intentionally to further isolate and make the person look crazy. And it's all very vindictive harassment. It's a very insidious program of which to kill the target. The ultimate outcome is usually that the targeted person commits suicide or dies from some kind of weird cancer or illness or stress or heart attack. They die because that's what it's designed to do, is to kill you. It's like a slow kill torture program that's all fucking military, government sponsored shit. And for some people who don't understand this or don't believe it, that this kind of horrendous thing exists in the United States, I suggest you start, look up some names on your computer and do some searches for some people such as, I've talked about this before in some videos of my past, which got, I guess, deleted. Look up Dr. Eric Karlstrom, Dr. E-R-I-C-K Karlstrom, K-A-R-L-S-T-R-O-M. For example, Dr. Eric Karlstrom is a PhD geophysicist, very well-spoken, educated man. He has a website, Organized Stalking, something about gang stalking. I forget the name of the website. Look up this man. Look up Dr. Eric Karlstrom. Look at his videos. Look up Karen Melton Stewart, former NSA whistleblower. Look up Richard Lighthouse. Look up targetedjustice.com. Look up these organizations, PAX International, PACTS, PAX International, which was founded by Derek Robertson, who used to do freedom from covert harassment and surveillance back in the day. And then that's how I first found out about this, was years ago when I was like, what's going on here? And, just desperately trying to find answers and typing in keywords in my computer. And finally, I just stumbled on accident upon his website. First, it was Eleanor White's website, this woman out of Canada. And then from there, I was able to find Derek Robinson, Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. And so and that was back in 2003. So I've known about this stuff for a long time. And another person who I used to listen to a lot and learn a lot from was a man named Marshall Thomas that I found on YouTube. Marshall Thomas. He talks about this. There was a man named he went by the name of Garutula Joe on BitChute, and I don't think he might have a channel still, but there's very few videos. He used to have a lot of really excellent information about this program. Garutula Joe was his pseudonym. I don't know his real name, obviously, but that was his pen name or whatever you call it. I think he had it because, when you're giving out this kind of sensitive information, then obviously you're gonna become more of a target, because that's just, I know, because of my former channel, when I would talk, I'm sorry, I'm trying to block out that light. It's right in my face, and this is the only way to do it. It's a very vindictive, like I said, it's a very horrendous type program that it's illegal. It's basically, I mean, how else am I supposed to describe it except like the parallel justice system, prison without bars? Like I've talked about that before, which was what I was doing my dissertation about when I was in grad school, the master's program, about tying in the theories of John Brathwaite, who I believe is from New Zealand or Australia, combining that with the parallel justice, or his views on the parallel justice system, and then combining that with organized stalking, community harassment and surveillance, and sort of electronic harassment. how all that was how it's coordinated and how it's all linked together and all this stuff. And this man, so the parallel justice system, basically it's like, i.e. prison without bars. It's like whenever a person is accused of a crime without due justice, due process, or having been read their Miranda rights, for example, are targeting mentally ill people who've been diagnosed maybe wrongfully as being mentally ill. They're easily targeted, people who are just different, people who are different and outspoken in the community wherever you live. This is just something, it's like a modern day witch hunt for people. Because I tell you, when I first moved here in this house in San Antonio in Denver Heights, on Denver Boulevard is where it happens to be called Denver Boulevard. The people next door, it was like a fucking encampment of a bunch of fucking government stalkers or cops or whatever the fuck was going on, because they were all spying on me. I can tell you right now, they were all fucking with me the whole fucking time. And finally they all fucking just went away. There's nobody there anymore. As of like about, I don't know, a couple months ago, they just fucking disappeared, basically, except for, I don't know what happened, but it's like, wow, it just all stopped. And I think it's because I kept talking about it and having to call the fucking police because of the noise. And, a few times I would mention what I suspected to be going on there because they would do it right in front of my fucking face, right? They wanted me to see it. And so for my own protection, being that I live alone, I had to get the authorities involved, even though, as you know, the fucking police are up to their ears in illegal crime shit anyway. The whole organized crime, white-collar crime, and fucking mafia, drug cartel, and human trafficking, and all that shit. It's all connected, and the police are right in the middle of it all. And it's all the same thing. It's all the police are protecting the criminals, and it's all like a bunch of hush hush. We'll scratch each other's back, and it's all bribery and crap like that. I learned that a long time ago, how that really works. If you think the police are there to protect you, you probably better think again before calling them, especially to come to your home, because it might be a really bad idea. They might end up fucking killing you. That's just my opinion. Be careful about who you get involved with, what's going on in your life, because these people are dangerous, especially towards women. They are predators, they're sex addicts, they're rapists, they're often child molesters. And these are your local fucking government and police people working for the police. Because I had to go through that for the past fucking year with a fucking predator sex addict. And I've talked about that before. He was basically manipulating me and harassing me to the point that it was like causing me so much psychological trauma and PTSD that it's like now, it's like when you've gone through something like this by people lying to you and trying to get information and using you and exploiting you in ways that you didn't agree to and shit. It's horrendous, and nobody can understand this until you've gone through it, okay? It's very much a nightmare, but it does happen to people who are targeted individuals such as myself. These people are sent by whoever. Like in my case, I imagine that it's my own family because of money, inheritance, and I've got the fucking proof right there. I know why they're doing it to me. It's all about money and control. And I've been going through this my entire life with my own family. It's a battle because against them, and I don't have any contact with them. I don't choose to ever see them again. I don't have any desire to ever see these people as long as I live. I don't want to see them because of all the damages they've caused on purpose to me, to discredit me and to make me look crazy and to make me poor. And that's what my mother wants for me. That's what her son wants for me, because otherwise, why would she have put me in such a horrendous situation in 2016, knowing how vulnerable I was? What kind of a fucking evil person would do that to their own flesh and blood, your own mother? Unless there's some kind of money motive behind it, right? Or insurance policy, or money that they knew was coming from my dead, now deceased father, Alan Baldwin, that I was a beneficiary of. Or, you see, they know it. It's all planned out. And they know that there's money involved. So therefore, they have to start working on their ideas way in advance to make sure that you are the scapegoated person in the narcissistic family is discredited, so that they can steal your money. And it's common. This is called guardianship abuse. It's called another word for it, because they'll try to put a guardianship on you. They'll try to make you look crazy. And in my case, I have been forced, because of my situation of monetary situation, I was forced to have to go through Social Security because I couldn't get a job. I'd get a job, I'd get fired, or these jobs would be like being exploited and basically set up to the point that I'd have to quit or I'd fucking die. Severely exploited and physically fucking worn out and exhausted. And so when these kinds of things happen to you, and you know that like you're not it's like why is it that you seem to be an honest person, you don't screw people over, you don't steal people's money, you wouldn't steal somebody's fucking identity, you stay to yourself. Why do they do that? You have to ask yourself, why would anybody want to go out of their way, especially your own so-called family, to do that to somebody? Well, because of their envy, because of their jealousy, because of their greed about money and in property and inheritance. And this is real. And this all ties into probate court and probate issues. And until a person has gone through some kind of a probate issue with a deceased relative, you've had to fucking battle in court for other things, such as myself, which I've had to fucking do so much of my own sponsor or spokesperson, attorney ad litem, so to speak, in a way. It's like, because nobody's going to help you because you're crazy. Why would anybody believe you? And it's like me always having to defend myself against predator criminals who want to fucking steal my money or life by exploiting me. And in my case, I was severely exploited sexually in the past, to the point that it's filmed without my consent, forced to do things I didn't want to fucking do. Things of this nature. And these motherfucking predator, sick psychopath, asshole men and their fucking cunt, demonic women that do this kind of shit are evil. Okay? I'm sorry, but these kinds of people are fucking demons. I am not. I might be different, and I like to collect skulls and candles and Santa Muerte, and I like symbolism and Saturn worship and all that shit. And I'm a Capricorn, but I'm not a fucking, it's like these people have it. They put me in a category of which I'm not. They have labeled me as being not only a devil, not only a Satanist. Okay, I'm a Satanist. I'm a prostitute. I'm a whore. I'm crazy. I'm this, every little thing that they can come up with to discredit you and make everybody fucking turn against you. You don't even know. That's what's happened to me. And it's gotten to the point where I've gotten so accustomed to being treated like shit by people who I don't even fucking know, running into me trying to run me over in the parking lots, following me around, fucking stalking me in the stores, harassing me at the fucking gym, giving me dirty looks, making a lot of noise on purpose to try to, shit like that. Sometimes it could, they're doing it because they're angry, and it's their own fucking ignorance, their own fucking culture, of which they feel entitled to treat people like shit just for being who you are. And this is how people are. And so you're left thinking, well, who exactly is a main perpetrator of this? And it makes your mind is boggled trying to connect the dots. But with me, I do know. I do. Fortunately, I figured it out, and I can draw the map and connect the dots of exactly when the timeline of my harassment and going back to, especially when I lived in Austin, Texas, but way before then even. So I know who's behind it, and I know why, and I know that they think I'm that dumb, and let them think what they want, because honestly, I believe in myself. I have my spirituality, and I believe in a higher power of some sort protecting me. And if these people want to call me whatever the fuck they want because they don't like me, you know what? Good, I don't fucking care. Because if I don't talk about this shit, then who else is going to do it? Nobody's going to defend me. Nobody's going to fucking nobody's going to help me. Nobody's going to talk about this kind of crap because they're going to have their fucking name smeared, or their reputation ruined, or you lose their corporate job, or whatever it is. And I've already lost everything and sacrificed everything by talking about this shit to the point that who fucking cares? You know, who fucking gives a shit what they think? It can be hurtful at times when all these people are fake in your life and they're handlers or assholes or users, or they want to exploit you. But hey, if it's about me getting the truth out there about what happened to me and what I go through, then and maybe it can help somebody else who maybe understands and has a ability to comprehend these kinds of things, and maybe it'll help somebody, maybe not. But I know that even trying to explain this to a therapist, to any kind of social worker or whatever, they just like, they don't get it. They don't understand it. They discredit you. And when you are a targeted individual and you're trying to get on your fucking disability, which you deserve as a targeted person, because God knows I have done my due diligence. I've worked my, I know that I deserve a good life. I know that I shouldn't have to be living like this, okay? Losing sleep, wondering from one day to the next what's going to happen. Am I going to lose this house? Is my mother going to fucking, kick me out? All this crap, is everything's in her fucking name because she's a greedy, narcissistic person or has narcissistic tendencies who doesn't fucking give a shit about me and never has. And I don't give a fuck what you people say. Oh, well, she helps you with... No, that doesn't mean that just because a person helps you financially because they feel obligated because of all the shit they did, that doesn't mean they give a shit about you. Trust me, my mother and her son are my biggest enemies in the world, and I, as well as other people, and that's the way it's always been. They've been doing this shit to me since I was a kid, scapegoating me, and because of her fucking adulterous affair. And that's a fact. Because of the fact that I fucking figured out that I believe Alan was my father, and she had a fucking affair, and so she hates me, and she's always hated me. You know what? Fucking, I don't give a shit. She wants to steal my fucking identity, take credit for what I've done, financially destroy me, keep me in a fucking prison. My own fucking bitch mother. She's evil. She's evil. And I honestly, I'm able to have conversations with her like for 10 minutes every so often about nothing but business or finances. That's about it. But she's so fucking manipulative and evil that I feel it's like she wants to be me, or it's like she tries to compete with me. Like, it's horrible what narcissistic mothers do to their daughters. Whenever there's a fucking golden child, her son, Carter, my fucking half-sibling jackass who I got no fucking contact with ever, I don't ever speak to him either, thank God. Because these people are toxic, fucking toxic for me. And I have no living relatives on my dad's side other than a cousin, David Foster Baldwin in Georgia. I think he's in Athens, Georgia or something. Somewhere outside of Athens, Georgia. That's it. And other than that, I have no really living relatives on my dad's side of whom I'm aware of. None. And that's the only one I know of. And so it's pretty much like, in my mother's side, they don't give a shit about me. They have done so much fucking horrible stuff to me to gaslight me and make me look stupid and ugly and set me up for... It's like that, you know what? No, they don't care either, and I'm used to that, and it's like, really. So you'll find that as a targeted person, you don't have family, you lose all your friends, and this is all done by design, by the way. It's all very calculated how everything ends and how it starts when you're in a fake relationship with a handler. It's like you already know when it's like they do it so according to like things to prevalent things going on in your life, so as to calculate everything that these motherfuckers, because they like to manipulate the narrative to their advantage so that they can, you know what I mean? This is how fucking stupid they are. Scripted, basically. But, so another thing I'll talk about is like, so with Social Security, it's a big joke. They don't treat you well. They treat you like you're fucking crazy. Like in my case, I'm treated like I'm horrible treatment by people I don't even know because of whatever has been said about me. And then, and because I fucking don't believe in the official 9/11 narrative, for example, shit like that, because I'm a dissident, because I speak my mind. You're what's wrong with you? You're not a social communist. You don't believe in you know that the fucking Fed is a fucking scam. Because I know shit, I get harassed and punished because I figured shit out and I research all the time. So I get punished by stupid, ignorant people who don't fucking know anything except how to fucking watch television, shit like that. Well, I don't really fucking care what you think. Quite frankly, I don't. So what? Do your own fucking little thing and be in your little fucking hive mind, fucking bullshit reality world of TV and actors. But I'm on a different level. So yeah, like I went to the doctor. It's been like a year since I've been to a doctor, right? Because I haven't really I had been prior to that. I have a chronic condition of which I've talked about before, something relating to my urethra and bladder, which is manageable, but it's something that I was pretty much like born with. It's like, what the fuck can you do if you're born with a urethral stricture? That's something that most of you don't understand either. You don't even fucking know what that is. But anyway, it's a condition of which I was born with. And so I get punished for that, for the fact that I have an abnormal urethra and problems with I don't want to talk about that, but it's a condition that's chronic, that can be painful at times, of which what can happen, and I'll talk about this, is that it can cause like an infection in your bladder due to not being able to eliminate enough of your urine, to the point that it can cause like a bacterial infection. Other things can trigger that, but usually various things can trigger a bacterial infection, and this is common with women. It's common with men as well in their prostate area, I think, but it's more common with women who get urinary tract infections. And usually what did women do? Well, usually what people do when they'll go to the doctor. The doctor does a urinalysis or whatever to check the urine to see what kind of bacteria is in there, if it's E. coli or whatever strain is, and then they'll give you, they test everything in the urine. It's amazing what the urine can test for, right? Test for proteins, and I wrote all this stuff down the other day because I was looking at my results from my medical visit, because I had something happen to me the other day that I had an appointment anyway with it. What's ironic is I'll talk about this. This is kind of fucking weird. I had an appointment that was already set up. I set it up probably about almost a month ago. An appointment I had the appointment a couple days ago, right? And ironically enough, a couple days before my doctor's appointment, I started having some severe pain in my urethra, like stabbing. Like, this was 2 days before my scheduled appointment. This was on last week when I was at the gym. And it was really bad. It's like I felt like I looked like I was going to die, and I felt like I was going to die or pass out. It was bad. I didn't know what to do. I was kind of like, should I leave? Should I stay? I was like, I'll just stay and kind of do what I can do as best I can. And I managed to stay a little more than half the amount of time that I normally stay at the gym, maybe, or give or take about half the amount of time or something like that, because I had to go early. It was just too bad. The pain, it was stabbing so much that I had to get out of there. It was bad. And I was like, what's going on? And I kept going back and forth to the bathroom, and I was able to go a little bit, and then, going back and forth, drinking as much water as I could, and trying to, I think I was passing some stones, which sometimes you pass kidney stones. They're really small, but whenever the urine is accumulating in your bladder and you're not able to release it properly, it accumulates, and then it hardens into these little kind of stone type things, and so when it passes through, when it's finally able to pass through your body, your urethra, which is really tiny, narrow thing, then it's painful. It can be very painful. And so I believe I was passing some tiny acidic kind of little rock type things through my urethra, which was causing the pain. That's what was causing the pain, I suspect. But in the past, when I've had that before, years ago, which I had hematuria gross hematuria, which is visible, as opposed to macro. There's macro hematuria, which is visible, and then there's micro, which is not. It shows up only in a lab, but nonetheless, hematuria is when you can see the blood in your urine. And I had gone through episodes of that lasted for like 6 months, and it was on and off, and it was really bad. Yet I was continuing my exercise regimen every day, nonetheless, despite that, and that was back in 2010. But I haven't had problems like that, thank God. That was, I believe I was having kidney failure. I don't believe it, I was, actually, because I had gone to many different doctors, and I was basically, my kidney was shutting down. I had lost so much blood that, and I was dying, and I probably, well, I could have easily died, but I didn't. But I was dying from kidney failure. But I saved myself. I was able to get, I didn't get diagnosed with anything like cancer, but I suspected it could have been something like that. Had I not, it could have turned, I don't know. The whole thing about cancer, in my opinion, I could go on and on about my thoughts about that, because that's a different story for another time. But if your body, if you, for example, if you go to a doctor, right, because you have some symptoms of something that mimic something that you feel like whatever, it could be that you have, what they'll do, obviously, I suppose, is they'll do their tests to see what's going on with your blood and your urine, and then they'll do the scans and maybe an MRI and whatnot, and they might find some kind of a tumor wherever in your body that they do obviously further testing on, which could be malignant tumor or non-malignant. And in that case, obviously, once you've been given a diagnosis of whatever they say, then it's up to you if you want to, go through their whatever chemotherapy that they do, or you want to do what you want to do, okay? People choose their own routes when it comes to diagnoses. And you can look into a woman named Dr. Lorraine Day, for example, who talks about her experience with breast cancer, how she cured her own breast cancer not via chemotherapy. But that's just an example. So cancer is not exactly what people think it is. I think what happens, in my opinion, and from what I've researched and heard about, is that whenever you do obviously chemotherapy for cancer, whatever cancer is in your body, that it will actually obviously cause your entire immune system to collapse eventually. That's what weakens it, because it kills not only the cancer cells, but every other healthy cell in your body as well. And so that's why myself, and I don't believe in these diagnoses anyway, quite frankly, because it's like you're asking for, when you go to the doctor, a lot of the times, it's like you're just kind of going there asking for a diagnosis, and you're giving yourself a death wish, I think. That's why I try to avoid them, unless it's an absolute emergency or something I have to do. But other than that, it's like kind of like you're asking for a diagnosis. I tend to stick with more allopathic supplements and herbs, and try to not do the Western medicine route unless it's an absolute emergency and I have to be on some antibiotic to kill something. That's it. Or emergency surgery, like you've been in an accident, you've lost blood, you've been in a bad car accident, a trauma surgeon, okay, where you have to get some kind of life-saving surgery or heart surgery, whatever, that's different. But other things are, I think other things that happen to people it happens to everybody, and it can be manageable without harsh medical Western things like this, because I believe that actually will speed up the process of death. If you know what I mean, there's plenty of people who have been given a diagnosis of something and they survive, right? They're given a diagnosis of cancer of some kind by their doctor, and and I'm like, well, I wonder how many have they seen? Have they only seen one specialist? Have they gotten other opinions? Because you need to, if that's the case, you should get as many opinions as you can and do as much research about it as you can before you make any kind of decision about what you're going to do with those what they tell you. You can do nothing, which hey, your body will eventually heal itself, believe it or not, by a change of your diet, exercise, and drinking a lot of water. You can do nothing and watch it, see what happens. Or you can it's up to you. And that's why I say that when it comes to the fucking government, here's another point that I want to make, is that the government has no fucking right to tell a person what to do with your body. Okay, that's called medical COINTELPRO, basically. And the whole allopathic Western medicine is the Rockefeller found. That's all done by the Rockefellers. They are the ones who forced the fucking allopathic medicine into Western society. Prior to that, we didn't have that. We had homeopathic medicine, and then they came along and fucked everything up, just like they fucking control everything else in the fucking all that shit. You can trace that back to the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, because they're bankers, and so they want to control everybody and everything because of their greed and depopulation agenda. Now, the whole Western medicine, the allopathic medicine thing, that's cancer. That's right there. That's chemo. That's all allopathic, Rockefeller-sponsored stuff. And if you want to poison your body even more than it already is, instead of doing something natural to get rid of it, it's up to you. You have the choice, not the fucking government. Has no right to interfere and encroach on your decisions about your body. That's your vessel, that's your body, and they don't have any fucking right to tell you what to do with that, in my opinion. And when they start fucking stalking you and harassing you and acting like they're the authority over you, fuck, you tell them to fuck off and tell them, get a fucking gun and tell them to go fuck themselves, defend yourself against these motherfuckers. Because they don't have any fucking right to tell you what to fucking do with your body. But they want to play, no, that's your body. No, you have the right to make your own decisions, and let that ring loud in your ears for everybody who's like, these people aren't gods. They don't have any fucking authority over you just because they wear a white coat and no. Don't be deceived by the whole. Why don't you do some research about the fucking allopathic? Look into Eustace Mullins on BitChute.com. Type in the name Eustace Mullins. Eustace, Eustace Mullins, Mullins, and type in the Murder by Injection is one of his books. He talks about the Federals. Do some fucking research, people. Wake the fuck up. Most of you have been deceived your entire lives and you don't fucking know. You've been hoodwinked. Wake up. Wake the fuck up, and don't fucking tell me to wake up, because I've been awake for a long goddamn time about this shit. And I don't need more people telling me how to fucking think. I get that every fucking day out in public by total strangers harassing me and gang stalking and mobbing and shit. But anyway, so back to my visit at the doctor. So I had that happen, ironically enough, a couple days ago, right before I had a scheduled appointment, the appointment was day before yesterday, my doctor's appointment. It's been a year since I've been there. So everything's, I had to do like a urinary thing. And it's pretty much this, it's a little bit almost the same results as, because I compared my results from several years, before, and it's kind of the same thing, except a little bit different. And this time it's always the same thing. I've got nitrite in my urine, or a protein and shit like that. Things like that, a little bit of things like this. But it doesn't mean that, and I had a bacterial infection, of which I was put on some medicine for that, because I did in fact have a UTI again, which has been a while since I've had one, quite a while, that I've had to be on any kind of antibiotic. But so that'll clear up, and I'm feeling better, But sometimes so in that case it's necessary. Sometimes every once in a while I have to take an antibiotic if you actually have a lab result showing that you have But then another thing about these lab tests, here's my other gripe about this shit, is that, okay, a lab test, these things, what are they testing for? Just like a test for HIV, for example. What is it testing for? It's testing for antibodies. Anything that's testing for some kind of disease in your body, like HIV, for example, or some kind of blood test, it's testing for the antibodies against that. And what are antibodies? Well, antibodies are there to protect your body. It's protecting you against the invaders of your white blood cells. So people think that sometimes it's almost like it's backwards. It's like, well, if you test, and I'm not saying that this is going to cause a bunch of fucking harassment as well, I'm sure, because this is controversial, but for example, you go out and get an HIV test, right? I've done it before, and I've tested negative for every time I've gotten an HIV test. I've done it several times, as well as everything else, just for my own knowledge or my own whatever. But I don't even believe in those tests. My point is that because if you get a test for HIV, and depending on your blood type, it's going to react differently. If you're Rh positive or Rh negative, I'm O negative, your blood's going to react differently to these kinds of tests, these antibody tests. But if you get a test for HIV, for example, it's going to, and it shows up as positive, then you probably need to go get another test another couple weeks later, or a month later, or something, or several weeks, like a week later, or a couple weeks later, and it's going to change. It might, because it's testing, once again, those tests are testing for antibodies. There's a man, his name is, what's his name, who created that test for HIV. I forget the man's name that invented that test. But anyway, whatever. It's just that people have been misled a lot about a lot of these tests for things, about various things, because a lot of these tests that they run in these labs are testing for antibodies, and antibodies are not necessarily bad things. It means it's a sign that your body is fighting something if you test positive for it, but it also means that at the same time your body, it's kind of like it can be yes and no, it can be good and bad. But so I think my point is that I question these kinds of antibody tests for blood diseases or venereal diseases or whatever. You have to kind of question some of these things, but we all know that STDs like syphilis and gonorrhea and herpes, all that shit is real. It does exist, and if you test positive for it, then for God's sakes, go get on some medication or something and fix it, or do something about it, and don't fucking spread it to other people, without telling them. I'm just saying this because there's plenty of people out there who are so promiscuous that they don't give a shit if they're going to spread something to you or not. And if there's people like that, there are people like that out there who are so evil that they might have herpes, they might have gonorrhea, they might have syphilis, they might have HIV, and they don't tell whoever they're with. So be careful, because there's a lot of people like that, crazy people, evil people out there. So always protect yourself from these kinds of things, because your body is the only one you're gonna ever have. But yeah, because with women and getting these bacterial things, it's much more common for women, especially women who are sexually active, to get bacterial infections in their urethra, because guess who gives it to you? The man, your partner, especially with unprotected sex, is going to give you that. That's why you get them. It's because of him. And you might wonder why, if you're with a woman, because if you're with a man and you think that he's only with you, and you think you're monogamous and y'all are having intimacy regularly and shit like that, you might want to, before you may want to really find out if he's with other people at the same time as you before he gives you some kind of something, because they'll do that as well. These asshole men nowadays, some men are just horrible, and they're the ones who pass this on to their partners. It's them carrying it. The man is going to carry that in his semen and give it to you. So protect yourself and don't. Just be careful. And I'm speaking because, especially if you're with a man who you suspect is gay or on the down low, and he's a closet gay or closet bisexual, and he's lying to you, then really make him, before you have any kind of actual penetration or intercourse with that person, and you suspect he's kind of gay or something's off about that whole thing, make him go get make him go get every single STD test out there. Make him do it before make him do that. Make him get all those STD tests and show you. Go with him, as a matter of fact. If he cares about you as his partner and y'all are supposedly monogamous or whatever and you're a couple, make you two go together to one of these clinics and get tested. Both of you. Him as well. And see the results right there with him. And if he says no, he's not going to do that for you, and you know that he's high, then fuck it. He doesn't give a shit about you. Anybody who wants to have intimacy with you is more than just a one-night stand, and if they care about you and respect you, they would be more than happy to do that with you. Okay, they wouldn't mind doing that. And if they don't want to do that, then that shows that there's something wrong. And I would take that, heed a warning. That's a bad sign right there. Make them do that, especially if you're starting a relationship with somebody. I'm really telling you, women out there, because there's so much stuff going on nowadays with men who are people who are into all this polygamy stuff. And to each his own. If that's what you're into, whatever. But I'm just saying, people lie. They lie because they're so they're so, it's all impulsive and in the moment, and they might be inebriated or on some kind of drugs, and they're gonna fucking lie to you just to get what they want. And just be careful, because you are gonna get stuck with something that you have to live with and deal with when they're, it's hideous what some people will do, what some men will do to women because of their hatred towards women, or they're wanting to get revenge on you for whatever reason, because something that happened with their ex, for example. Yeah, so be careful. So I've just had a past strange days lately because of all this shit that, telling people to fuck off and cutting people out of my life, and people who I know are full of shit and lies. There comes a time in your life where you really have to just get rid of people that are of no benefit to you. They're causing you problems. They're lying to you. They're toxic. Well, really, you do have to just cut them out of your life permanently, or else they're going to continue to cause damage and harass and stalk and do these kinds of addictive smear campaigns and whatnot on their targets. And yeah. So I just had to talk about that, because I've had some weird stuff happen to me where that I don't even want, it's like, you tell somebody no and they don't fucking take no as an answer, and then finally they fucking understand. You don't want to fucking ever see them again or have anything to do with them, And sometimes they, it's like they just continue to harass you and stalk you no matter what. And it's like, well, what the fuck is your problem? And then it's like, you see how this can happen to certain people who are vulnerable for these kinds of things, or more vulnerable. It could be anybody. It could happen to anybody. And yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about today.